Shooby dooby doo.
Good times. We're going. We're live. We're live. Okay.
Happening.
So I'm going to keep an eye on the chat over here. Let me know if the audio is good in the chat. I hope everyone's here. Oh, I'm going to send this quick tweet out. Send. We're live. I sent the tweet that says we're live.
Against
Beautiful.
all
Wonderful. Magical.
odds.
On we go.
Folks,
Merry
it,
Christmas, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is probably going to go really badly. First, before we start, I want to say I apologize. I maybe have misadvertised by saying William was here. But I do have a video message from him for you all to consume. And I'm going to play it now.
is this like in A New Hope where it's a little hologram that comes out?
Sorry, I refer to that movie as called Star Wars.
So true.
Yeah, it's
Fair.
like 2 a.m. over there, too. I wasn't really expecting him.
Yeah,
Well,
I think he thought it was going to be 7:15 here time, but I'm like, I have to go to see my mother for Christmas, so wasn't going to happen for that. But let's see what William has to say.
Whoa. It looks like he just.
So, just to let you know, Scott,
Yes.
William is not showing up on YouTube. Okay, now there you go.
He
Now,
is. I knew
okay,
he
there he
was.
is.
It's just
Okay.
got a delay, but thank you, Dan,
Okay,
for keeping me
sorry.
apprised.
Sorry,
here's-
just try to coach.
Here's a message from William.
Hello. I'm internet personality William from England. This is my dachshund. I have a dachshund because I'm racist. Thank you for tuning in this evening. Because of a scheduling mix-up, I'm not going to be with you live tonight, but that's how it goes. It's the middle of the night. I'm going to bed like a good Christian. A young bandit here is going to keep me safe from badgers at all times.
That was wonderful.
Okay, well, there you have it, folks. I hope that audio came through.
That.
But anyway, joining me tonight
Explain.
is my perpetual sidekick, Patrick. Welcomes back to the show, Patrick, as always. And
Hello.
also joining us tonight is friend of the show from Nice Podcast Stupid here on YouTube. Dan,
Hello.
welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Dan.
Scott, always happy to be part of the Homo crew. I don't know if I always forget if we're the homos or the people that watch are the homos or the history people are the homos, but I like to think we're all a little homo. We all have a little homo in
We should
us.
put the fine point on it. I do say later homos at the end of the show, so I guess the listeners are the homos, right?
That's how I certainly always took it.
The History Homos podcast is the entity that says that sentence. Okay, so I'm going to go to the chat. Oh, by the way, if you want to donate to the show, I will I'm going to read most of your guys' comments. I'm here looking at the chat on my other screen over here, and I'll read it. But if you want a super chat, we don't have that set up because I don't think we have 1,000 subscribers yet. We have like 400. Please, you can send us money at paypal.me/historyhomos, and that's the best way to do it. But I'm gonna read everybody's comments anyway. Runaway Slav says something in Russian I can't understand. So hello, Runaway Slav.
Hello, comrade.
Merry Christmas, Scott and William. Well, I'll let William know you said that.
William's just eeping right now.
He's eeping right now. He's eepy.
He's got a dachshund on his chest right now, interrupting his breathing.
And Jeff, of course, also says powerful. I assume he's speaking in reference to the William vid.
It was. I'm shaking. here.
So, how are you guys feeling Christmas this year? Patrick and I had said on the show last week that we felt that the Christmas spirit is palpable this season. I definitely think that this phrase "Merry Christmas" is so back.
People,
I've noticed that I was at a store and actually at Macy's the other day, buying stuff with my wife, letting her kind of pick out some things, and the woman at the register. Now, and it's funny if you look at the map, Massachusetts is a place where it's a little, it's a little hit or miss with the Merry Christmas, right?
Sure,
Some people get a little butthurt because of things, and she was very up. She's like, "Merry Christmas."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Merry Christmas to you," and I laughed and I just said to my wife, my wife is not she grew up in Brazil, but she obviously lives here now, and I said I was
like many
I was
women
fighting
in Massachusetts, by the way.
yeah, they're big Brazilian take. In fact, if you look, Massachusetts is the fastest growing Brazilian population in the whole country. And
yes.
I think I saw something the other day where 1 out of every 100 people in Massachusetts is from Brazil now, or it's like over 1%.
And by the way, that does not necessarily indicate a massive racial change, because it's like America in Brazil. There's all kinds of different people in Brazil.
Oh yeah. And they're one of the countries that actually likes the United States. Like, there's a lot of countries where, like, they think America sucks. Brazil, they love Americans. But what I was saying to my wife is, I had to fight back. I wanted to do kind of a thing. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm Jewish. We don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
I was so close to do it, and she laughed, but I of course didn't do that. I'm an asshole, but I'm not a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good we're winning the war on Christmas then, if people are saying Merry Christmas. But, one of the only Brazilians I've ever known back in California, his name was Hummel. And he says it's spelled Rommel. And I said, "Whoa, you named after the Feldmarshal?" He said, "Yeah." And there was like a wink and a nod. Like, that's pretty cool, man. So, yeah, Brazilians, cool.
I think he's probably from South Brazil,
Brazil,
near the Argentinian border.
East Brazil, maybe.
Yeah.
Which side of the wall, Brazil?
Yeah, or which side of the fucking Atlantic Ocean of Brazil?
Yeah. He's a coastal Brazilian.
Mozed says, "Merry Christmas isn't back, Jesus is." There's definitely truth to that. I definitely think that there's an upswing in the Jesus appreciation department. Now, I don't want to be a cynic, especially on Christmas, but I do think there's there's a sort of hyper-real aspect to a lot of people's authenticity in this, because and by the way, this isn't the conspiracy thing either, by the way. I just think it's like Christian is like a genuine problem. You know what I mean? These people are just like, go online and just argue about like, my version of Christianity's better on Twitter, all fucking Twitter spaces all day.
What else is there to do, Scott?
I know, but it gamifies the entire, it gamifies something that should be possibly not game.
Yeah, how quickly people turn the best things into a T-shirt, that they wear around and use to fight with people about. I mean, I personally, I have to at midnight Eastern time here, I'll be heading to the local Catholic church to
midnight mass.
To participate in the midnight mass. And let me tell you, as much as I love my Lord for what he did for me, I'm dragging ass here.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna have to be struck once or twice.
You're getting a little zooted though before midnight mass, though, right?
No, he rolls his own.
I roll my
ciggies.
Oh, those are ciggies. Okay, yeah. I thought I saw.
Never.
I saw a little
marijuana.
marijuana. Not that there's anything wrong. Not that there's anything wrong going to midnight mass. So, lighting one up for Christ. Like, it's all good.
You know what you can't do before midnight mass is drink anything, because I'm gonna have to it's gonna be worse than like getting up in an airplane. Like
the pee thing.
Yeah. What am I gonna do, man?
You gotta get an aisle pew to for the bladder situation.
Oh, excuse me. can I just, sorry, just knocking shit over.
Right.
Just make.
Oh, we got another special friend of the show coming. But what's it called? So let me get back. Let's catch up some here. Runaway Slav clarifies his earlier Cyrillic comment. Grant, good to see you. I'm hanging out with friends watching the famous Abbo Christmas movie, The Proposition. The eggnog just chilled, just popped in to give cheers for the birth to an 8-pound, 6-ounce baby Jesus. And Hey Say What Now says, what's up, y'all? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Hey, what's up, y'all?
What's up, man? Hopefully you're in a soft chair right now enjoying the show, with some kind of furry friend to join you. I had 2 cats clawing at the door earlier. They're literally shaving wood off the door. There's a little pile of sawdust outside the door. Little dumbasses.
I like to call that termite bait. So I alluded to. Hang on. I got some stuff in my notes too. I want to talk about. Let's talk about Obama's movie list of the year.
Obama. He was dropping playlists. Fancies himself a real DJ.
He's like the letterbox president.
I was gonna say all of his shit is fucking workshopped, and they did a focus group to figure out what was the most fucking vanilla,
I just want
shit to usually
based in Red Pill.
Or 19-year-old women listening to.
I'm a big fan of the Nas's Big Illmatic album from the late 90s.
I remember.
I like to listen to some Tupac.
I was smoking crack with this guy and
this
Jay-Z
guy. He sucked my
and then I married him.
Yeah.
I was with this baby.
Yeah, no. Okay, so let's look at what Obama's movie list this year. The best part is that he released it as like a pitchfork style JPEG.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. This is
infographic list.
Yeah.
Does it have associate links? Like you can buy like an electric toothbrush?
Right. No. You can buy a Blu-ray copy of each one of these movies, and
yeah.
I actually get 1 cent of every purchase. I need it.
Oh.
How much the HRT is for Michelle? So okay, I Conclave is that movie that we were thinking about A-logging, about the Catholic Church.
A taut Vatican thriller.
A taut Vatican to just kill me, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's horribly sacrilegious too, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure they're all like cussing and like talking about like Obama's recommended list. They're making very topical comments. They're checking their phones during mass, whatever. Yeah. I watched that show years ago now. The Young Pope, I think it is.
Yes.
The new.
I believe it is Young Pope. I've never seen it, but I remember Marshall from my old podcast was into it, and he wanted us all to watch it.
Yeah, in retrospect, that happened in the days where I was just watching garbage, just garbage.
Isn't
garbage.
it a Showtime show? Showtime is real
trash,
folks.
HBO. It's HBO.
Okay, it was a slight cut above, but really after like the whole Game of Thrones thing, can you really say HBO is like a cut above? Like,
brother, no, absolutely not. Because here's the thing: I was watching Game of Thrones until a point where I realized, shit, I haven't. No. It was like in the middle of season 5. I'm like, I haven't paid attention to anything, and I don't know how long. I don't give a shit anymore. Who are these people? All these names? They're not.
Well, once they didn't have the fucking books to work off of anymore, they completely got fucking exposed. They didn't know what to do.
As like it's like football. Like you're caught up in the momentum of all these all the people also watching it. You know what I mean? The football season. Well, give a shit about one play from another in the football season, but you're caught up in the overarching storyline. Big air quotes around that. I mean, I also, again, my biggest issue with the Game of Thrones was I think I maybe watched 3 or 4 episodes. In truth, it wasn't episode 2. That's a little bit not fair, but I remember instantaneously being like, Oh, they're doing that every character is a shade of gray of morality thing. Cool. I see what you're doing here. I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, it's you can't blame people for pining for a something to talk about over the water cooler, you know? It is a good
Yeah,
thing that
mass media, or
that
sorry, mass culture was like, it was a very stabilizing civilizational force.
for, all its potential to be used as a way to, uh how you say, channel all narratives into one bullshit thing per day for people to, talk about that doesn't matter. But like,
The other, oh, sorry.
well, no, it's just like, it is a good thing for people to be able to relate, because it's so hard. There's so much shit now that, the odds of people being into the same thing are, kind of, slim, unless it's dog shit.
You were just saying, Dan?
I was going to say the problem with Game of Thrones, what makes it a great sweeping fucking fantasy epic is this fat guy's been writing these since, I think he said since 1990.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And think of how hard it is to adapt like a Stephen King, like one of those long books he had, like The Stand or It or something like that. We'll multiply that times like 10, because it's all this world building, characters upon characters, history, like he like all of the characters, and then he goes back like 10 generations to wars that happened like 100 years before, and like there's prequel, there's sequel. It's like Star Wars mixed with whatever, and you just can't. It's not. You're gonna have to cut things out. So they cut out all these characters. They did shortcuts, and then once they ran out of the books,
characters too.
Yeah, they combined, like some characters were like a composite of like 3 people. They cut storylines. They cut out like total like half of books, like basically like whole parts of like different places where people went to, and they're like, yeah, we can't spend we got to have like a buddy cop rom-com in this part of the world. That's versus crazy. 400 pages or whatever that you got dedicated to it. But yes, you're right, it's got to be gray. People want that ever since Sopranos and Mad Men and all the Breaking Bad. Everything's got to be kind of anti-hero based.
Yeah.
And that's what appeals to people. Like, people don't want it black and white anymore. They want a little bit of.
We were kind of talking about this briefly because tomorrow, for everyone watching right now, I think I mentioned in the group chat already, but me and Patrick recorded a full, almost 2-hour esoteric analysis of It's a Wonderful Life, and it's coming out tomorrow. And boy, do we have a lot to fucking say about that movie. First of all. But one of the things
I just rewatched it today. There's so many weird little things that like that are like little hidden things where you just think to yourself, wow, that's like, not that you couldn't do it now, but that it would be completely interpreted differently. I mean, like the drunk driving thing at the end, like, oh yeah, hey, I saw your car hit a tree, It's like, yeah, because you left Martini's fucking shit-faced.
Yeah. He just happens to be liked by everyone in town. That's why everybody gives him a hard time.
Nowadays, you just get the fucking cuffs slapped on. You don't get to talk your way out of with Bert the cop or whatever his name is, and he walks you back home and in the snow.
Jeff just said something good that lets me to jump off. And after this, we're getting off of Game of Thrones, by the way. Jeff says the main character for the first few eps, Ned Stark, was pure good. Yes, Jeff, that's exactly right. And then they killed him.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. They're like, subvert your expectations of what a fantasy show is. It's like, oh, that genre that you like where everyone is good or bad? Fuck that! He's dead! Yeah. We're literally gonna kill his ass! Okay.
Yeah. But back to what Dan was saying, you're right, Dan. Community means not being, taken to jail for slamming your car into a tree.
Yeah, it's like a high-trust society, yeah.
It means,
one might even say a communist society in some regard.
People did assume that about it. But I don't want to blow the episode. We could just literally run it all now, but I'm not doing that shit.
We can run, we'll shut up now.
So, oh, look at these dapper gentlemen.
Look at these handsome gentlemen. Looking good, boys. Merry
What's
Christmas.
in the safe? What's in the safe? Al Capone's
fucking vault, yeah. Is that is Geraldo gonna come in with a TV crew to open that fucker up?
Geraldo Rivera is in that safe right now, waiting to jump out.
Yeah. He does look kind of like a skeleton. But okay, so one of the things we were talking about was this. It's a Wonderful Life was one of the first movies that sort of focused on like the inner workings of like the human mind, as it were. And I'm not trying to say like there were so individualism was something that was like very new to media expression at that time in the 1940s. Like prior to the 1940s and like movies like, I'm not saying this specific movie was the first one, but movies like It's a Wonderful Life, prior to them they would have like the main character that you're following through is like a Jungian archetype essentially, and it first of all is a self-insert for you if you wanted to play hero in your mind, but second of all it's always a character that is firmly embedded in the world that he or she is a part of, and they act out something that is a common set of circumstances that happen to a character in the society that they're depicted in movies like It's a Wonderful Life and later. It started to incorporate aspects of the individual mind, the atomized individual mind, and like the movie itself is like, when you think about it, it's about what George Bailey thinks about himself as a person. It's about his self-esteem. It's about, did I do the right things in my life? Like, did I accomplish the goals that I deserve or whatever? Now, to us, that seems very boilerplate, and that's like sort of how like they sell products to you. First of all, that's how politics is sold to you, definitely in the neoliberal era. But what I was gonna say is, at the time when that movie came out, like people really did think of themselves in this sort of as like not as discrete individuals or whatever. And the reason I even fucking bring this up is just to now go on back to the fantasy genre. Because that's something is that people, and myself at least, find immensely refreshing about the fantasy genre, because it doesn't incorporate this fucking navel-gazy bullshit. It's just stories about people living in a society, and they're acting out things that we can all fucking relate to because they're human. And they're not incorporating like buzz pop psychology into it. You know what I mean? Like particularly what we think of today. And I can't take credit for this take fully. I can't remember the guy's YouTube name, but I'll try to find it later and we'll talk about it in the show or something. But I found a YouTube guy just talking about fantasy, and he was saying like the reason why fantasy falls flat lately is because it's trying to fit into the the like subcategory of elevated entertainment. And what elevated entertainment is like entertainment that reflects like popular concepts of psychology and stuff, and like anxiety. I have anxiety, I have trauma.
Oh, perfect.
And shit
I
like
was just
that.
going to say, yeah, I don't need to hear Ned Stark say gaslighting.
Yes,
and,
thank you so much.
Use
Exactly.
the word vibe. Yeah, absolutely.
I just think the Targaryen's vibe is off.
Well, there's too much shoehorning, like political points, like that are just of a very specific time in history, and trying to make everything allegorical to like what's going on right now in the world.
Star Trek,
and
new
instead
Star
of
Trek, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, exactly. And everything's the Orange Man bad somewhere infused into it. Like they can't everybody's got to like put their little political spin on things. And meanwhile, good fantasy, the good thing about with Game of Thrones is I do know from reading that George R. R. Martin is kind of a shit lib a little bit. Like he definitely has shit lib like tendencies, but instead of being like shit lib political with his fantasy stuff, and of course it kind of predates a lot of the current shit lib stuff, but he really went more to like historical politics, looking back at like actual historical stuff. And really there's a lot of stuff that he's basically taken from English nobility and some other different kingdoms, and even the Mongols. I mean, the Mongol
original
shit
libtards, if you will.
Exactly. So he did a good job, and his world building. It's funny. I was watching a YouTube video. I think because I was watching Game of Thrones, and then I got like somehow the
Yeah, you
algorithm
want to
always
look
knows what
into
you
it.
want to
Yeah,
read.
you want to learn more.
And this guy was talking about all these things about all these traps that people come into world building, and they do all these things. And to Martin's credit, he did a lot of backstory and a lot of this stuff, but also he leaves enough open to kind of like the thing that I really like, and I won't spend more time, but the POV aspect that he picked with the books, it's kind of almost like Rashomon-y kind of in terms of it's like how this character sees things, and then there's all these things going on in the background. So instead of like describing everything that's happening, he takes the eyes of that character and how they see the world, and then a lot of this stuff is open to interpretation, and in a lot of times it's an unreliable narrator that's telling you this because they're lying. They're telling you what they want to think versus what's really happening, and then you hear it from somebody else's perspective, and it's a lot different.
I'll second that and say that my favorite thing about the show was I think he was going off of the War of the Five Roses or whatever it's called.
War
Scott,
of the Roses, I think it was called.
Yeah. But in the way that it's a lot of espionage, it's a lot of in the way that chapters are limited to one character's perspective, POV, their knowledge of the situation, however limited it is. We're savvy to more than each character is on a per chapter because we know the things that are happening all around them from across the whatever. So the show had all the potential in the world to be great, and it would be nice to have a sound fantasy show that does accomplish these things well without falling into the traps of just being unable to refer to the times, to not understand that things are more rhythmic.
More differenter than now.
Everything's the same. It's all the same until like everything. I think just thinking that now is special. Now is particular. Now is
it's special because we're in it, Patrick.
Yeah, exactly. And
we have agency within this era,
and we can live. But I wanted to ask one quick thing. Has anyone seen the movie Civil War? Because I think I
haven't.
Yeah, I think that is the peak of
the Marvel Civil War movie.
No, he's talking about the one.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. What's the name of that director? He did.
Garland, Alex Garland. He did.
What was his big thing?
Ex Machina, Annihilation. I think he did.
Annihilate. That's what I saw that he was in. That he did. It sucks.
Yeah. No shit.
It was an interesting concept, but yeah, it didn't. It was not.
I'll tell you what,
good.
It's not an interesting concept. It literally ripped off SCP. If anyone familiar, is anyone in the chat here now familiar with the SCP control, secure, control, protect, or security containment protocols is the other acronym. Anyway, it's this online science fiction collaborative writing project that anyone can join. I think I'm technically a member of it. It's a wiki that anyone can create a wiki in, and you write wiki entries in this fictional world that is there's a secret department in the government. It's extra governmental agency that hides paranormal things from the regular people.
Yeah. Now that you describe it, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. This is very interesting shit.
It was very interesting before we're on YouTube. Certain demographic of people who are confused sexually took over. And
people that might like being moderators on Reddit, for instance.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. It's now taken over by that, so it's difficult. It's difficult to get good shit in there, and I've given up on it as a result. But there's literally thousands of classic articles on the page that are still worth reading.
The premise itself, however much shit it's gone to it's still incredible. Yeah.
Annihilation, I the guy who wrote it, the author who wrote the book that it's based on, which is apparently very close to the movie adaptation, by the way, he denied knowing what SCP was in his Reddit AMA.
I doubt it.
Fuck. I doubt it. Yeah, fuck that shit. I think you're a fucking liar, dude.
Even I knew what it was, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So,
Dan, by the way, do you remember the "I doubt it" commercials?
Vaguely.
Dean's
what was that?
Home Furniture. There's one in Randolph, I believe, and there's also one in the North Shore. But famously, though, he used to have ads on during Patriots games.
What's the name of the
Dean's
place
Home
again?
Furniture. It's similar to
yeah.
Bob's or one of the other. I think he works for Bob's Home Furniture now, actually.
Okay. Yeah. No, I do remember that. There's so many classic I mean, I'm sure it's in every part of the country, but New England definitely has those like local Jordans, Bob's, Bernie and Phil's. That was always a favorite of mine.
Quality, comfort, and price.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I love these guys who like insist on being in the commercials for like 30 years.
Cheaper.
Sure.
They had to animate Bob. Bob got a little too old. I think he would have had dementia or something. They had to turn him into a cartoon at some point.
Yeah.
Like, just sign here so we can make a likeness of you, and we'll put you in a hot air balloon. You'll fly around. You do all sorts of cool shit.
Yeah.
So, I saw one where a guy like clearly just took up guitar in his late 60s and was now showing
Ernie Bach Jr. type flex.
Ernie and the Automatics.
Yeah. Isn't Sid Hashian in the Ernie and the Automatics, by the way?
Yes, he was. He was the drummer of the Ernie and the Automatics.
From Scorch to the fucking Ernie Bach man, baby. So Ernie Bach Jr. is this guy. I think he's like a billionaire, dude. And he owned like
because his dad started like the Auto Mile or one of those places.
Started it.
Or his grandfather.
And
Okay,
Ernie Bach Sr. was kind of a scrub, but when I was a kid, Ernie Bach Sr. was the guy who owned it, and he would say, "Come on down," and he had a horribly thick, clearly everyday whiskey problem, cigarettes constantly. He died in his 50s, I think. Maybe 60s. I don't know. He looked like fucking shit though.
Because Ernie Bach Jr. took over pretty young, and then he took over. He's doing the commercials.
40s, I think.
Ernie Bach Jr. was the George Bailey of that whole thing. He was
very good callback. I like that. Yeah, he was kind of the George Bailey. Although if George Bailey decided he wanted to be a rock star and like hang out and like glom on to like parties with all like the Boston celebrities and the football teams and the rock stars and Aerosmith. I mean, he's very George Bailey-ish.
Dad, I can open for Aerosmith. I don't want to sell whatever the hell this is. What is this shit?
Cars.
I don't want to sell these pieces of shit.
To his credit, though, I think he started a charity to help, like, keep music in schools and stuff. So, like, he put his money where his mouth was, but he definitely did it because, he definitely loved being, like, the tycoon rock star guy, and he's kind of a tall, goofy-looking dude, but
he kind of looks like Mencius Moldbug.
Oh, wow. I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah. Of course I've heard of him. He's me.
I'm sure do any of these guys know who Ernie Bach Jr. is? Probably not. Right? Tony, Paul, Grant.
But he
very Massachusetts reference.
So esoteric.
The reason why I was thinking about it was because I was thinking about buying tickets to a concert at the Wang Theater in Boston, which is like the oldest theater still existing in Boston, as I understand it. And it's now called the Bach Center, as in Ernie Bach Jr. So that's what got me thinking about it. I ended up on his wiki page or something when I was thinking about going to go see the an orchestral arrangement of the soundtrack of Stardew Valley, the video game.
Oh, see, that's no joke though. That's probably nice.
My wife had me take her to the Nutcracker a couple of weeks ago. I had never that's all. At
least you don't have to travel. You can stay in the house.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so I went to. I assume, Dan, you growing up where you went to the Wang Theater to see the Nutcracker as part of elementary school, right?
Yeah, exactly. I must have gone once, like when I was like 8 years old or something. So like I vaguely remembered it, But but it was kind of like, yeah, you go there and it was all little kids, but it was a good reason, a good excuse to go to like the theater district, go hit a restaurant. As you get older, like I moved, I'm down on the South Shore with you, and you probably know how this is. It's like Boston is close, but it might as well be 4 hours away. It's just so hard to
I'm there
like
every
get
day,
into the
brother.
city. Oh well, you work there. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay. They're not a good example, but for somebody, I work at home,
Mm-hmm.
so like for me to like, go. I'm like, yeah, I'll just go to like a restaurant in Plymouth or something. Like
Or
I just
Providence,
can't.
even, especially where
Or
I live.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. I go to Providence 3 times more than I go to Boston.
Same.
It's just so much easier.
I like the
What
guineas down there too. By the way, they got some fucking good guinea food down there.
good Greek food too.
Yeah, they got all kinds of like various European ethnics there.
What's fun is going into the Asian markets. I went into those as a kid, and it still feels like a dream to me. Like I haven't been like just walking
You
past
ever been to
chicken.
Cam Man in Quincy?
No, I've no idea.
There's like a seafood section. You walk in there, and by the way, it smells like fucking death. They got good stuff there though. I remember my friend Marshall took me there once, and he goes, "Let's go see the turtles." And I go, "They got turtles here?" Like thinking there's gonna be like fucking
I like
like it's gonna be like like a little pet section or something. We go over, it's the seafood section, and not only is it turtles to eat, but it's literally just like one of those Rubbermaid buckets, like those big, you know what I'm talking about, the ones that you store clothes in the attic. Like one of those on the floor with just a pile of turtles in it, and you can pick one up and put it in a bag.
Oh wow. Oh man. How do you prepare a turtle?
Soup, I would imagine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's a soup dish, isn't it? You just boil them
It
up.
comes with a free bowl.
And a plate.
Clarf says Bob from Bobopedic seems to be getting his commercial ladies pregnant also. I did not notice that. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that Bob got frisky. I have the Bob on In Hot Water. That Bob was like fucking Aaron Berg's wife, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, the guy owns a furniture store.
I mean, it's beds is right in there, man.
Yeah, worse than beds, just countertops, stools, things like that. You can't.
I got my Power Bob bed. I got the reclines up and down. Yeah, I think it's Bobopedic. You can lift your legs up. You can lift your. It's once you go that, man. I got a great mattress. The Bobopedic mattress. The automated thing. It's fucking great, man. I could never go back to like a regular mattress. I got that thing going up and down, left and right, watching TV, putting it down, lifting my feet up sometimes if I want a little bit of a, you can also do zero gravity. I don't know if you guys ever done zero gravity with the bed.
This is not a paid spot for fucking Bobopedic, by the way.
Yeah, but hey Bob, send me another Bobopedic. I'm fucking wore this one out. But the zero gravity, like you like it elevates your feet. It's almost like you're being like in a spaceship, right? Where you're kind of like in the cockpit. Elevate your feet and you can like be sitting and fall asleep.
Propaganda.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
It's
funny. By the speaking of flat Earth and all that stuff, like somebody was saying the other day, I was reading somewhere, and I'd love to hear Scott and Patrick and everybody else's thoughts on this. How come we can't get back to the fucking moon? Like have they decided that it's not worth going back, or were we told not to go back, or did we? Now, some people say, well, we lost the technology or the information or the technology to get back.
That's official story.
Yeah.
That's such bullshit.
They say they taped over the fucking tapes. Like, because, like at the time, like all the computer data was on tapes, like physical, like magnetic tapes or whatever. And they're like, it was really expensive to have all these tapes on file, and we needed more tapes, so we taped over it.
I mean,
that's like when you hear like the NFL say we can't have the cameras on the goal line because it costs too much. It's like, dude, you make fucking $50 billion a year. Like, you can't put a fucking camera on the goal line. Like, what are you talking about? But in India, I mean, India's sending people on the moon
They are
now.
not.
I mean,
If
granted,
you watch that fucking video,
they
it looks like it was
didn't
made in the
land. They
Unity
crashed on the
engine.
moon.
It was made in Unreal.
It's
Dude.
coming. We're getting close. 100 meters, 90 meters, 80 meters. Oh, no, it's falling. We can't stop.
They get up there as toilet witches. They're all fucking spooked. What's it called? So Lunchbox in the chat says because the Van Allen radiation belts. I don't know about the Van Allen radiation belts. A lot of people say the Van Allen radiation belts. I don't know enough about radiation to know if that's real or not. I'll say
Buzz Aldrin's fine. He seems to be fine.
He's self-ambulatory, I think.
I mean, if the Van Allen belts are that deleterious to the human form.
Why would this fucking Scottish 33rd-degree Freemason? Why would he fucking be fine then? If that's the case, yeah.
I mean, it's almost like he didn't go. He's in such good shape.
The other bullshit that's going on with the two astronauts that are stuck on the space station. Have you been following that?
Yeah,
how they do?
What is the deal? So I guess they can't get a ship up there. So I had
because they got the Russians are in there, but because this is I love this about the United States. Because of the fucking shit libs, the neo-libs, we can't talk to Russia because Russia's the worst thing in the world. It's Cold War all over again. Meanwhile, they are so below us on everything. Like we should not be afraid of Russia in any. Well, I mean, we're fighting this like. We all know what we're doing with the proxy wars and stuff.
It's not an imperative that we crush them the way we're trying to.
Yeah, and it's not that we shouldn't be able to like sit at a table and negotiate with them like terms of things and stuff. So that you've got the International Space Station, you've got our two astronauts, you got that there's a guy who's like 50 and this other Sunni or whatever, she's kind of not that she kind of looks like a witch, but the two of them, and they've been up there. They were supposed to be up for like 2 weeks, I think, or a month. And now it's coming up on almost like a year that they've been stuck on this space station. Meanwhile, the Russians are going back and forth. But our Boeing, whatever the Boeing pod that we sent up there, by the way, the doors didn't work on the Boeing because some Shaniqua who works at Boeing,
the Anthony Cumia Twitter fucking feed thing. Okay, I've said this before on the show, obviously, but I can clarify my thoughts on the moon landing. My belief is, I don't know about the Van Allen belt. My belief is the moon landing in 1967 or whatever, or 9, whatever, was not real, and it was just a video that they made in order to A, win the air quote space race, and B, justify trillions of dollars to be put into black budget things that eventually would go to fund shit like Iran-Contra, CIA, proxy wars in Afghanistan against the Russians. Where do you think that money came from? Like, first of all, that's my belief is that, and to extend from that, the reason why they're going, oh, we lost it, let's do it again, is because they're really going to try now. And they are trying genuinely now. That's what I think. And a lot of people will go, shut the fuck up, fucking idiot, Scott. Whatever, maybe I am an idiot. But I think they're genuinely trying to go to the moon now because it looks like a rock that you can land on. Whether or not that fits with your what's the word, model of geocentricity or not, I don't know. But that's what I think about the matter. And by the way, when I found out that the Japanese successfully landed on the moon, I said, that sounds right.
So it's possible.
Yeah, it must be possible because the Japanese said they did.
So they got their Toyota spaceships that they're taking up there to put it in automatic and just land it right on the moon. Yeah. I was very against the fake moon landing, but the more I think about it, it just makes all the sense in the world. Yeah. The technology was not there. They had basically the equivalent of iPhone, less than that, like in the microchips or whatever.
Calculator essentially in
like a TI-85 they were using to get up to the moon.
They were playing Drug War in space. Do you remember that shit?
They were playing Arkanoid on the TI-85. That's what got them up into space.
Do you guys remember Drug War? It was literally like 400 megabytes of code Not even. I want to say 400 kilobytes of code, actually, probably more likely. And it was a text game in which you would buy the drugs that you... There's like 4 districts you could travel to. Totally text. So you go travel to downtown, travel to the ghetto, travel to the suburbs, and you would have to go somewhere where you could buy drugs and then take it to another market and sell it to the audience, sell it to the people who are looking for that drug, and then it would keep how much money. Sometimes when you were traveling, the cops would see you, would have to fight them, and it would random number generator would decide whether you either escaped or fought them or won in the fight or whatever. Do you guys know what I'm talking about at all?
I don't, but it sounds like a fucking great game. I think I'd still play it today. That sounds awesome.
And I knew a bunch of people who had it on their TI-85s in school, in high school. Hell yeah. Yo, what's up, Del frickin' Tree? I go to the moon with these 4 locos, he said. But what's it called? So drug war is fucking sick. And yeah, you could just literally, you could copy and paste what the code was from fucking TI-85 to TI-85. So literally we would be out, like I had one and I was like someone showed me and I'm like, yo, could I get that? And no problemo, I had it on my fucking thing and it was very fun, honestly.
Yeah, there was an Indian kid that went to Caltech in my high school, and he created like a blackjack game for us all. Like we were, I had a TI-85 with blackjack, and I had the Brick Breaker Arkanoid game, and I think I had one other thing, and it was fucking sick. It was like having like a Game Boy. You know what I mean? Like they were pretty like legit games. I mean, yeah, it really was pretty cool. But yeah, that's what they did to get to the moon with. So
shut the fuck
I don't know, man.
Shit, man.
Well, they did build the SR-71, and that's pretty advanced too. So this is Tom Luongo's take on it. Don't you think that those guys probably could have designed something to go to the moon? I think it's definitely possible.
It's possible, yes, but I think it's possible, definitely. But I think it's more plausible that those trillions of dollars went into all these black projects that we do know happened later. Yeah, that's kind of my thing on it.
And also to chime in briefly on the Van Allen belts, yeah, they are strong enough to kill you, but only if you stay in them for like an hour. And they're thin enough that the spacecraft can go through them in a matter of a couple of seconds. It's like going through a chest x-ray or something, where if you stay in there forever, it'll kill you.
Of course, it'll boil your blood.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I also think it's possible that this is that we might have gone, but still had a backup plan of faking the footage. Sure. So I think that's possible too. As for the money, yeah, they'll throw money wherever they want. So that's a good, argument to lose it. But yeah, here's one other thing. This is kind of a tangent, but the astronauts were going to meteor craters around the U.S. to try to learn a little bit about geology, so they'd have a little background to know what they're looking at up there. And they found evidence of lots and lots of impacts of little tiny meteoroids up on the moon. And this has led to this theory that every 6,000 to 12,000 years, when there's a pole shift, there's lots of little meteors that get pushed out through the galaxy, and they make our sun do something called a micronova, which can be like an ancient apocalypse type of event.
Sure.
So if you've never heard of this, I encourage you to Google micronova.
Interesting.
On this topic,
Merry
Tony,
Christmas, Lunchbox. Go ahead, Patrick. Sorry.
Merry Christmas, Lunchbox. Any thoughts on the Carrington event? I think that was
Is that in the 1800s? Yeah.
Yeah, 1859. Yeah, that's a similar thing where, it's going to happen again someday, and it's probably going to take out most of the power grid. And we've been kind of lucky that it hasn't happened yet. But yeah, it's going to happen someday, and I hope we're ready. I hope I'm ready.
Yeah. It's gonna be that's definitely like not like fear mongering, like global warming fear mongering type thing. Like it's like, how did they measure the Carrington event? How did they notice that there was such like an increase in whatever? I know that what it was a sun spot, correct?
Yeah, well, they had telegraph lines that had they were getting fried, and they knew the inductance in the coils and stuff, and they knew, how much electromagnetism it would take to do that. And I don't know Faraday's law off the top of my head, but I mean, there was enough evidence of what happened and how strong it was that it's pretty well established now.
Right. Oh no, I wasn't doubting it. I'm saying that I was just wondering to know like how that came to be that they understood it, because I'm sure prior to there being electric devices, this could have happened all the fucking time, and all the only thing that changes was like the wheat moved different or something. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
or the wheat moved different, the sky changes color, and then Lord knows how many myths, how many
right?
cultures,
Yeah.
how many shifts, and
Sacrifices ended up taking place.
God help us, yeah, like shit. So
Are we going to talk about the orbs at all?
Oh,
the
you mean like
orbs.
the drones? I actually was gonna bring that up next. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Do you have a
I was
take?
hoping we were going to get there since we're talking about things up in the
Yeah,
sky
yeah.
because
That's literally where I was going next. Do you have what's your take on the drone sightings of late, Dan?
it's I well hmm.
Look by the way, Grant's chair. Something interesting on the back of his chair there.
Oh, I see that. Very interesting. I like that. Um,
What, I wonder what that says for the audio.
FDR maybe?
female body inspector,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Big
Sorry to
Johnson.
interrupt you.
So I want to believe, like Mulder, I want to believe that it's orbs and that there's stuff. But what what I think it really is it's war games. It's
Interesting.
it's this. There's a vacuum right now in the government. You've got Biden who doesn't know where he's at.
Yeah.
He's not even meeting with his cabinet. The deep state, the military industrial
Gotta keep
complex
my
is
socks,
playing.
man.
They're like
Matthew Broderick.
we've got 2 months to play with our toys.
Right.
So let's take them all out. Let's just do whatever the fuck we want with them. Now some people are saying that they think there's a dirty bomb or there's some nukes or something that might have got ashore that
4chan's
came
been
over
saying
from
that, yeah.
yeah. I think I honestly think you got to go Occam's razor, or you got to go with the most likely thing is we know it's our government. The people that are really in control are playing with their new toys and they're testing them out and they're seeing what they can do with them. And then they're going to all disappear, right around New Year, right before the inauguration. And it's like it never happened. And that's my theory.
Interesting.
I
Okay, that's a take. Patrick, your thoughts?
Well, I'm on board with that pretty much up until where it stops after the inauguration. I don't know. I mean, who we wonder if there's any real change in management in terms of these parapolitical affairs when there's a new administration. But like, I think we're like this is a new chapter in the mass hysteria.
Francis Fukuyama is dismayed to find out that history has begun again.
Okay.
Are you familiar with his book? He wrote a book in 1990 called The End of History, and it was about the end of the Soviet Union and basically that like neoliberal like politics have become like universal over the planet, and we could kind of pack it in, boys, as far as historical events taking place. And that's certainly what is transpired in the Ukraine arena has been evidence of that having reversed. But I think more so than that is actually the Israel thing, and Syria falling apart. The Gaza, like the two-state solution is now gone. It's gonna be just one, and it's Israel. It's looking like, I hate to say it, but I think like the Middle East thing, and another thing that I'm noticing is there's actually, it's ironically, we're seeing like this sort of in the Middle East, they're trying to prop up like the people they're trying to prop up in Syria are like Western friendly neoliberal like economic system, and also they're like, yeah, we like Israel, and it's like this is very weird times that like the shill what do you call it, color revolution party that's interim government that's taken over after a CIA color revolution is like pro-Israel and pro free market and gay stuff is cool in the Middle East. It's very strange times. But anyway, so I got off topic here now to say what my take is on the drone sightings. My genuine, earnest belief is that boomers have been glued to their iPhones for 5 to 6, 7, 8 years maybe, and they have not looked at the sky in a long, long time. And
you've seen the planes coming in over the ocean, right? Like it looks weird, like it looks like spaceships, but they line up and they come in and they all look little glowing balls, and then they come in and they zoom in.
I think part of it is my earnest belief is that there's some kind of mass hysteria event taking place through old people who have been so glued to their phones that they have not even considered that maybe the lights on a plane have changed in the last 20 years, that they've been sort of otherwise occupied. And the other thing is it causes an upswell in people now paying attention to the sky. And then there's also a confirmation bias that's going to take place, because if you're looking to see something weird, you're going to fucking see something weird if you want to see something weird. So I do think that and now here's the other thing I think's going on. I think there's a bunch of people who go, oh, the boomers are upset at drones. Let's fucking put drones up in the sky and fuck with them. And then the other thing is particularly boomers, or not just boomers, but older people in general, they just have this tendency to be I'm aware of something. The government got to do something about this. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just
these fucking guys. They're busted. These fucking drones. They're busting my balls.
These fucking Iranian drones are busting my balls.
I actually was in the North End one time, and a guy it was right out of Central Casting. A guy had a motorcycle, parked on whatever that street is there in the North End, and he's like, I overheard him talking. They're fucking breaking my balls here. I'm trying to fucking park my bike. They're fucking busting my balls. I was like, wow. It's just I've seen this movie about 1,000 times.
Yeah.
It's definitely there's the element of people just not knowing what to do with what's up in the sky, and just having been for so long, totally not interested in it, and kind of really dismissive about really asking any questions, aside from these drones are busting my balls, they're over my house, I want them away. At best, at worst, this is them showing off whatever, really, like you said, Dan, this is fucking RC toys for the U.S. military, I believe.
The ones we get to play with, yeah.
Yeah, the shit that we can see with the naked eye is
so... That, yeah.
We've had fucking drones since Obama. You'd send them over to Yemen and killing people,
they were old
picking them out of the sky.
Too, by the way.
I'm sorry?
They were, in terms of military technology, they were old tech then in Obama years.
Yeah, so you can only imagine what they've come up with in the last 15 years or whatever with these things.
Stealth. I'm sure of it.
They're B-2 bomber, stealth, just stealth drones that can probably disappear, virtually. They go off radar. That's what they're testing out. They're
I don't remember which James Bond was, but they had this thing where it was the car. It projects, not a hologram, but it projects light out and just shows, there's a camera on the backside of it, and it shows what's behind it. So when you look at it, it's not fully invisible.
What if we put mirrors on the drones?
Something like that, yeah. It's possible.
Cloaking technology.
But so I do, part of me thinks it's the thing where it's the boomers just going, well, why did the government do nothing about it? But the other thing, it could also be they're just okay. Here's my thing: if it was Merry Christmas, Dustin Kelton, by the way,
Merry Christmas, Dustin.
So the other thing I wanted to say was, if they're letting us see it with their naked eye, and they're making it so and continuing to do it after there's news broadcasts on TV, they want us to see it, and if that's the case, and if it's them. or whatever. But if that's the case, there's only one play going on. They want to regulate drones more. And there's a very, very simple reason, and it's on if you just go and watch any of this like Ukraine war drone footage, boom, there you go. It's all drone fighting. Now, I'm going to be very careful right now. I'm on YouTube, and I'm also, addressing a group of people here. But
YouTube.
If there were to be some sort of domestic, in America, sort of civil war / what's the word, internecine conflict or something, and there were groups of unaffiliated with the government entities, paramilitary, if you will, citizen paramilitary, if you will, I would think that even if it was just I see Grant is about to write something down, it would be the benefit of having drones for citizen paramilitary groups during a conflict like that is not, and not even for like actual doing like an action per se, but simply for reconnaissance. It would be unequivocally necessary in today's like war climate. You know what I mean? So end of scary thing to say, by the way. I don't think it was that scary, but you never know. Grant's in the fucking stream. We don't want him telling his supervisor. Grant, I think your mic's down too low. I can't hear you.
Shout it out, Grant.
Grant, please don't tell your handlers about what we're talking about on this podcast. Please.
I don't think what I said is crazy. I just think, you know what I mean? Again, this is not me or anyone listening right now, but if a theoretical group of guys were to fight the government, they would need drones, is all I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Certainly. Yeah. And I mean, just for the simple fact that
Let's
cell phones
up high without having a fucking helicopter.
Cell phones alone are already a problem for, the black boot. So the fact that now you got cameras in the sky that can,
see
counter
movements. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Dan, you're about to say something?
I was going to say, if we're going to start Fed posting, so to speak, on this, I have a little bit of a Fed post that I'd like to make, a quasi Fed post.
Christmas posting.
So the Luigi's Mansion, who killed the insurance CEO, and now partly because he's handsome, so everybody's swooning for him, just like they swooned for like Ted Bundy, right? Like it's like, and he's the handsome assassin.
With the Tsarnaev kid too, they did this
a little bit, yeah. See, FBI asset, by the way.
Exactly.
But if let's say that he was a lone wolf, that let's just say he wasn't an asset of any kind, and he just took this upon himself. He just said, I want to go out and kill a CEO of a company that I think is an evil company. If that starts becoming a thing, like copycats, shit's going to get really interesting very quickly in this country, because there's you think back to the what was it, Occupy Wall Street. Remember that a couple years back, that which basically took over by
Occupy Boston is what made me a libertarian.
Occupy Boston. Yeah. But it ended up being more about like camping out on the Greenway and smoking pot and trying to get laid, which, hey, kudos to you if you were out in the Greenway, you're trying to get it in there. That's fine. But there was like, but I think it was Doug Stanhope or some comedian was saying, it's like, if you really want to make a difference, take a bunch of bricks and go over to like the local like banks and just start like taking out and start going at the powers that be, and start creating like nihilistic, anarchy against these power structures of the country. That's a revolution, not sitting on the Greenway getting high.
Yeah. I mean, those guys were going to be sitting in the Greenway getting high either way.
Well, they were going to, But if you start like if like you're the CEO of General Motor or General Dynamics or Lockheed Martin, and you're like looking over your shoulder everywhere you go, and like that becomes a thing, then maybe that's the sort of revolution that changes things.
Right. The counterpoint to that is, if it was a controlled thing that happened, what better way to spark a series of events, especially someone who's so low. Like, again, this Brian Thompson guy, first of all, goyim. Second of all, it's just
insider
like
trading.
it's like
You know,
that's possible too. But I'm just saying,
he had all kinds of maybe mob ties. You know, like all kinds of shit.
Health insurance is a boogeyman to the John Q public because everyone has to deal with it. It's bullshit. But the real underpinnings of what makes our society tick, specifically, like, health insurance could not be as financialized as it is if not for one very special industry called finance. And frankly, I think there could be 1,000 health insurance CEOs that could die that wouldn't make a nick of difference to the entire system, but comparatively very fewer members of the financial class would make a major difference on how things operate. And which is why I think they're willing to get rid of a few CEO of health insurance companies, and that's why they're putting it's something that people, like regular people, do get animated about, but they're going to be in a lot of trouble if people get hip to the idea that that it's all about banking at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Dan, your camera, I don't know if you did that on purpose because I'm fed posting, perhaps.
I'm just gonna take a quick break. I'll be right back. I just gotta go fed post in the boys' room. I'll be right back.
You got it, dude. Okay, so in that case, I think I was pretty much done talking about that edgy stuff anyway. What else does Obama think is on his list of movies for this?
Please, can we finally get to Obama's picks of the week?
Yeah, his picks of the year.
Oh.
He apparently likes the new Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown. That's such a
good,
such a boomer.
Oh, really?
Like, oh, can you believe this? I like Bob Dylan.
Bob.
Bet you didn't believe that. Bet you didn't expect that out of a guy like me.
In case you like Bob Dylan, I like Bob Dylan.
Yeah. No, I bet he does. Remember I just re-released this episode very recently. I don't know which one it was. Maybe it was the Green Dress episode. Maybe it was the first History Homos bonus episode. But on our Substack page, great time for us to fucking plug. But historyhomospod.substack.com is where you can get first of all, like, the regular show. And then also you can get to our bonus content. Particularly, I was referring to right now, I re-released a very old piece of bonus content that was behind the paywall back on Rockfin. And it was an episode in which we were talking about... wow, I completely... In getting to this preface, I forgot the whole reason I had brought it up.
We were talking about...
Bob Dylan movie.
Dylan.
Okay, I remembered. But yeah. I brought up an article that was new when we had taped it in 2020, and it was Obama had put out his second autobiography, and in it he had confessed that he purposely read Marxist literature so that he would have something to talk about to white women at college. And I was just doing the impression going like, hey, have you read Jack Derrida? I think he's pretty intense.
Now I think I'm starting to like Obama now. This is, I mean, not that I like what he's reading, but hey, he's trying to get some the white shit. Where the white women at, you know?
Post-leftists were had some pretty interesting things to say, to be honest.
Sure. Obama's always been a man of letters. All right, you guys forget
C-I-N-A.
G-A-Y.
Yeah, G-A-Y. There you go. That's right.
But
it's funny how you go from a community organizer to president in about like 3 years or whatever.
Yeah, well, but don't forget his first job out of Harvard was a company called the Business International Corporation.
Wow.
That doesn't sound sketchy.
If you go on their page on Wikipedia, the first thing in the first fucking words on the Wikipedia page for Business International Corporation is CIA front company. So, and also, by the way, his mom, I mean, his dad, his real dad, supposedly, I don't know, they always say maybe it was this guy, maybe it was this guy, but the guy they say is his dad was like the Zelensky of an African country in the 1970s. And she had him out of what, I think they were actually married. Doesn't matter. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. And then after dating him, she then married the Zelensky of another African country of a CIA like color revolution, and yet, by the way, if you like search his mom online, it's just like, oh yeah, she was just like an anthropologist, and it's like, oh no, she definitely didn't work for the CIA. She was just married to two CIA.
She just worked in the mailroom, you know. She just shuffled papers and worked on a typewriter, you know.
Yeah, okay, man. She's like in a way.
She edited book. I love they do like edited. She edited books, you know, like she.
Yeah.
They had books to come by, and she would just read books for people. Yeah. It's
yeah.
Like,
what did she with what a big black Sharpie? What did she edit with? Yeah. So
what's the deal with Mike Baker, by the way? He's complete. He's the handler for Rogan.
I don't think there's anything. Yeah,
he doesn't even like hide it. It's just like, yeah, I was at the CIA. Yeah, I go on Joe Rogan like once every other month and just make sure everything's on the up and up.
I always jokingly called him Joe Rogan's handler, but it's like I don't think he's literally his handler, but it's just like this is.
The podcast appearances literally feel like a prison guard entering the prisoner's cell and just going through shit, like making sure everything is in line, everything's copacetic. Which is, he's the glaring one. He's the one that it's easy to point to. There's plenty more. Surely.
I remember, this is a bit of a inside thing, but I remember the first day that, good night, Tony. Tony's going to bed.
God bless.
He's also fat and low IQ, he said.
Not tonight, friend. Tonight, you're a Christmas miracle.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is, what was I just saying before Tony went to bed?
Obama's recommendations. We're talking about.
No, we're not talking about that anymore. God damn it!
I want to know what else is going on there. Shit.
Oh, Mike Baker, idiot. Oh, thank God, I remembered. Okay, cool. I remember a little bit of inside baseball here. Not really baseball, but it's esoteric reference here, I should say. But the first day that Bill Schultz's show was on Compound Media was none other than the day that the Las Vegas shooting happened. And guess who their first guest was? Mike Baker.
Oh shit!
Mike Baker called in on the first day of the Bill Schultz show on Compound Media and gave the official story, and they acted like, wow, we got a real scoop. Someone from the CIA is telling us we're getting some inside information on the, and by the way, it's the zero information that we still to this day fucking have. So I just thought, even at the time when I had no conception as to what the, and by the way, if you don't believe me, I see Jeff saying whoa in the chat. Go back to the Compound Media page. Go to the very first episode of Morning. I don't know if it was called even Morning at that time. It would have been called something else. But and there it is. Boom, right there. Mike Baker interviewed about the fucking Las Vegas shooting. And I even at the time I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and by the way, I also that same day had the unfortunate surprise finding out that this show sucks.
How do they memory hole stuff like that? How do they how do you never get any like straight story on things like this? It's
really weird.
It's so weird, like these like mass just homicide events, and it's just like, oh yeah, he he had a bad day at the tables. Like, did he? Did he really? That's why.
Yeah, we're actually now treading into dangerous territory on YouTube, by the way.
Okay, yeah, we'll pull it back.
Established record.
We're talking about conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Don't the C word.
A runaway Slav's back from doing whatever he was doing before. Bad Santa's Billy Bob and Bernie Mac are quintessential representations of certain American character types. Blanta. or runaway Slav. Would Black Santa's name be Atlanta?
There have been a lot more representation of Black Santas recently. As someone who's been at Home Goods a lot, looking at things with my wife.
Like Black Santa? That's the $6 million question.
I think even black kids are like, they're like, dude, I want a black Santa. I want white. I want the white Santa. White Santa's gonna bring me better gifts.
I don't. I see an old black guy with a white beard. You're like, this guy is a homeless person.
And Black Santa's got nips in his bag. He's hanging out at Bunghole Liquors. Picking up an eighth of or four.
Blood. His feet be hurting because he got the sweet blood.
He likes the St. Ides and the OE40s.
Ripple. Cold Steel Reserve.
Making me thirsty.
Yeah.
I mean, Black Santa. How about Chinese Santa? If we're really
Chinese Santa is a farce because Chinese they don't even. At least black people celebrate Christmas.
I've seen Black Santa. I've seen him around, but I've never seen Chinese Santa. Probably because
Black Santa. What?
It's because they're celestials. They don't believe in Santa. They got their own things going on over there.
In China, yeah. I think they have like crushing poverty. That's what they.
There's nobody coming down a chimney in the rice paddies.
all the roofs are slanted, so he can't land on them.
Hey, cool it, man, with the slurs.
Cool with the slurs, dude.
Not on Christmas. I'm sorry, not on Christmas.
Not on Christmas, man. I think if anyone's coming down the pipe where like the fire exhaust comes out in China, everyone is dead for a fucking city block.
Talking about Asian countries that celebrate Christmas, South Korea?
I guess, they got some Catholics there. They got Moonies there.
Yeah.
A lot of Moonies, I would imagine. There's Moonies in Japan, too.
Yes, there are, yeah.
Japan we talked about this in the episode we did, that Japan loves a lot of the Christmas kind of themes. Like I don't know that they're all bought into the spirit of Christmas, certainly like Christian, but they like the KFC chicken, buckets. They love like the little Christmas outfits and the Christmas, like they like all the accoutrements that come with Christmas. They like that. The Jesus stuff, maybe not so much, but everything else about Christmas, I think they like. They kind of dig that.
Is it the way we celebrate like St. Patrick's Day or something else? Yeah, inconsequential.
Well, I think we briefly talked about this on Dan's most recent stop on the History Homos podcast, but in the 1970s when they introduced KFC to Japan, it wasn't selling, and Christmas was coming up, and they're like, what do we do? Let's run an ad campaign where Santa Claus is depicted as Colonel Sanders, and introduce the concept of a holiday that to them is, by the way, low stakes, because there's no religious significance for them for Christmas, and they can just sort of view it as this sort of super commercialized thing that's sort of frankly centered around KFC, and indeed KFC in Japan. I just learned this factoid today. KFC in Japan goes in the black from Christmas every year. Just from Christmas alone. If they didn't open their doors one day the rest of the year, they'd be in the black from Christmas alone.
It's like we joke about Jewish people going to get Chinese food on Christmas or whatever. Like, Japan, they literally like they are lined around down the street trying to get
Yeah.
their fucking KFC
They have
buckets. Like
they have
the thing.
reserved, like they have to stand in line to get a ticket to get Christmas
Like
chicken.
you wait for your turkey for Thanksgiving, they're waiting for their KFC bucket for Christmas.
Yeah, which by the way, not a terrible fucking. I gotta be honest. In honor,
I'm kind of
the,
jealous.
in honor of the the indomitable Japanese spirit. Today for lunch, I did get an item.
Hello,
from
Colonel
KFC.
Sander. You did.
I
Very
ate
nice.
Goislop today for lunch. Yes.
Yes. It was, seven.
As far as Goislop goes, that's up there. I mean,
It's
that
kind of
the
top
fried
tier,
chicken
yeah.
Goislop is top tier Goislop as far as I'm concerned.
Because yeah, are they dunking it in the most vile oils found on God's green earth? Yes, but other than that, it's just a chicken.
And
Yeah, I got Popeyes the other day, man, and I don't regret it one bit. Like I try not to get much fast food, but man, I'll do the fried chicken every once in a while. It is so good.
It is good, dude. And then the other thing is like fried chicken. Yes, can you make it at home? Yes, of course. And have I many times? Of course, but it's not the doing it is fun. In fact, but cleaning up is
it's a mess.
fucking miserable experience. And it almost ruins the entire thing, just knowing you're going to have to deal with that later. So I got to tell you, leave it to the professionals, folks.
Yeah, I don't have a deep fryer. I don't want a deep fryer. I'll let you guys. That's what McDonald's fries or the fried chicken. That's what you guys are specialized in. I want there's a reason it tastes so good. And you're right. The cleanup. You got the oil, the grease. It's no bueno.
We got to put these deep fryers back to work because they are disgruntled, out on the train on the way home.
Oh, you think that's the reason why the homeless problem is because people are like, I don't like seed oils.
That guy just
oils is caused the homeless problem in America. Seed oil awareness, even.
I just think that guy got. I think he got laid off from KFC, and he just did the only thing he understood.
Dress up as Michael Jackson and threaten people with murder.
Oh, I'm talking about the guy that lit the lady on fire.
Oh, that guy. Oh, yeah. I guess we could talk about that. What is the race of the victim lady? Everybody's been talking about this. I frankly don't believe either. I've heard both ways, and I don't believe either. I'm assuming she's a space alien. And the whole reason why. Oh, sorry, Grant. What are you saying?
Well, now she's very, very, very black.
Oh, jeez. She's extra crispy.
Hey, Black Santa.
Yo, what you want?
Some ice. God.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. That's very sad. I don't even.
That's a real thing that happened.
I don't care who it was. It's very sad that a woman burned to death. It's probably one of the most terrible ways to die you can think of.
I've not wanted something to not be real in so long, so much. Yeah.
So happy that one guy got off though for the chokehold guy because that's a bad precedent to set if you defend. Like we're in a world now where in the fire thing is a great example, and I don't know if it was in the live video or you could see it with that, but how many times now do people somebody's screaming in agonizing pain or they're being like assaulted and people are just like put their heads down. They don't even want to get involved.
Yeah, it's very sad.
It's a sad world that we live in where like people are afraid to like even defend people or get it. It's like, dude, I'm just trying to get home. I'm just trying. I don't want because even if you do have the balls to get involved, which not everybody does anyway,
of course,
you just know that you're gonna, involuntary manslaughter or the guy falls and cracks his skull open. Oh, guess what? Now you're the homicide, guy. Now you're the murderer. You're going to you try to defend an old lady getting raped in the park, and you're going to prison for 20 years because you tried to do the right thing. It's a fucking sad world that we live in where you can't, people can't defend other people because they're worried about litigation or criminal penalties.
It is good. It is honestly pretty awesome that guy got off. And yeah, I think it was like sort of a moment of reckoning for the last like 10 years has been like honestly remarkable on how, like, just ubiquitous it is that if you're a white guy and you get into a fight with a black person, it's like you're going to jail. I don't
It's a
care
hate
how
crime.
it ends. Like, it's just you're going to jail. Like, and it, to the point of insanity. Like, I don't remember the guy's name, and I would love to know that. I feel like his name's Connor or something. We were talking about this. Like, this guy went to a bar with his fiance, and a black dude came up to his fiance, starts hitting on her, and then the guy came over to be like, "Hey, dude, leave her alone." And then the black guy just starts beating the fucking shit out of him, like Jordan, like fucking what's his name, the guy, the Mexican Zimmerman style, and the guy goes, "Fuck," and he's carrying his pistol, shoots him, guy dies, obviously, black guy dies, and I don't know. I can't think of a more cut and dry example of not even stand your ground, but just simple self-defense. And the guy is serving 10 years in jail now. And like Jared, a friend of the show, Jared, Dan, you know Jared, when I told him about when the guy had been taken in, like the incident had happened, like that on the racist internet that we all inhabit, everyone was talking about it. And I showed him the local news article. He goes, "He'll get off. It's obviously self-defense." And I'm like, "Jared, I'm sorry to tell you, dude, he's not gonna get off. I really think he's gonna go." And then a month or two goes by, and what do you know? He's convicted. And then he goes, "Okay, maybe this is no shade at Jared. He's a good." It's actually sweet and innocent of him to think this way.
Oh, sweet naive Jared.
Yeah, and he goes, "All right, maybe he's convicted, but they're gonna give him nothing. He's gonna get parole. He's gonna get time served or whatever." And I go, dude, I'm telling you." And then afterwards, he had nothing to say. He just goes, "That's so fucked up." Like, that was all he could say about it. It's like, that's so fucked up.
Yeah. That is all you can say.
And the opposite, I remember another story that was down in, I don't remember what state. Maybe it was South Carolina. For Grant, Grant and Haas, maybe you can weigh in on this. But there was this old white guy, and this black guy had flagged him down to be like, "I'm going to carjack you." And the guy stepped on the gas and said, "Fuck that, I'm out of here." And the black guy shot him, killed him. This is a guy literally going to pick up his granddaughter. Shot and killed him, and then it went to trial, and the defense was, "I was scared I was going to be stranded there, and he wouldn't let me carjack him, so I shot him in self-defense." He got off. And it's like, Grant, was that in South Carolina? I seem to remember it being in South Carolina.
I don't recall that one. We had one where an old man shot through a door and killed some college kid.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one too. Yeah.
And it actually happened kind of near my parents. My folks made me take my dad's gun back after that, but it turns out.
Can I just interrupt? College kid? Does college kid mean what I think it means?
Yeah, it does.
Intellectual
Miami Spring Breaker.
Yeah. Unemployed
Jazzy
person.
Dresser. Basketball American.
Yeah.
Dude, someone knocks at your door at 4 a.m. Like, it freaks you the hell out.
Yeah, especially if you're an old ass man.
Yeah.
But
I think that guy got off. I don't know about this last one, but that doesn't sound un-South Carolina.
Yeah, I may have been Louisiana or something. I just know it was in the South. And I remember one of the reasons Jared was like, "No, it's the South. He'll get off." And I'm like, I don't think it matters, man. It's all about the DA, first of all. Yeah. And second of all, it's about the jury selection, and they know what to pick. And again, I don't want to get all doomer here, but, it's a fucking shame. And
it's Christmas is what it is.
It's Christmas, yeah. Fuck that. Well, actually, I mean, let's go back to the reason why we even brought it up was how awesome is that at least it seems like maybe that trend may at least take a back seat, I hope. I mean, like, look, again, it was all caught on 4K video, like it was a multiracial effort to stop this menace on the train or whatever. And good, by the way. I think that's great that people come together to stop a fucking asshole on the train. I mean, it's not great that he died. It would have been nice if he got some help and fucking whatever. Maybe just got apprehended, brought into custody, and maybe learned his lesson through, restorative justice.
Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life, that whole thing.
Yeah, sure. But I do think it's reassuring, and again, during this time of Christmas, and more importantly in the time of the new year after tomorrow, we'll be thinking about the new year. We'll be thinking about the restorative nature of time, the restorative nature of the seasons changing, and even just the calendar that Julius Caesar gave us. It gives us all an opportunity to go like, okay, let's refocus on the important stuff in life, and let's focus on the positive. So let's start to wrap up here. We got Christmas tomorrow. Before we get out of here, does anyone want to share what they're doing for Christmas tomorrow?
Please, anyone. I'll start if I.
Sure.
If I,
you can go with you first. Yeah.
if we've had some developments recently. So plans have changed, but we'll likely be sitting down to some sort of stew. We're just gonna pile in as many people as possible into the biggest room in the house, connect tables, folding chairs, the whole thing.
Classic stuff. I assume, being that you're Portuguese, I assume that will be fish head stew.
Brother man. Oh, here's hoping. I mean, I've never been a fish head man myself. I break them off. I put them on my mom's plate. But we do. This is a fun one. All right. I throw on there's a channel on YouTube called Wilderness Cooking, where it's
I like
just
wilderness cooking.
Yeah, this Azerbaijani spec ops guy who is just out in the mountains, and he's cooking, I don't know, anything, whether a camel, a trout, a giant fish.
I did see an episode where he did cook an entire camel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. Like he builds a standing oven, and it's just very soothing shit. He's totally dead silent. So I mute that, throw on the Peanuts soundtrack, and it's just dun, 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 Merry Christmas. And then my mom has this 20-something-year-old little Santa Claus. He's black, and you hook him up to. You hook him up. She got it on sale. You hook it up to the lights, and you go, Santa Claus. And if you it's very old tech Siri shit. He goes, yes, show me the lights, and the lights pop on, and it's very, very amusing.
Is this SCP? Is this like a paranormal device that you guys somehow the SCP Foundation let slip out of its grasp? This is a kind thing. I've never heard of this in my fucking life.
I mean, this is definitely some 1998 Filene's blowout sale.
Hell yeah, Filene's. That's a Massachusetts reference too, baby.
Yeah, so we
were at Filene's basement, kid.
Yeah.
Just imagine you wake up in Filene's basement. It's dark, and you just hear, yes,
show me the lights. And all the lights turn on, and there's just it's actually just, you see all lit up eyes all around the edges of the Filene's basement.
Goodness. And who is it?
Basement, man. I remember hiding under the racks there as a little boy.
That was the best. So in the spirit of the season, let's all think back to those weightless, cheerful,
for sure,
lovely times we all had, and think of the baby Jesus. And
of course, baby Jesus, the nativity. Tomorrow for me, I got a gigantic roast beef, ribeye roast. I think it's prime. I'm not sure. I spent a fucking arm and a leg, I gotta tell you. We got 5, maybe 6 people eating, so I mean, you kind of gotta But that mashed potatoes, whole bag of fucking carrots, roasted with just some simple fucking butter and salt and pepper. Let's see what else. A bunch of. I'm not gonna say the C word. The C word that people are not happy with, but a smorgasbord.
Ooh.
And so I'm going to instead say a smorgasbord of cheeses and deviled eggs and Italian and Spanish imported meats.
All the food groups. All the necessary food groups.
Anymore.
What's that, Grant?
Why can't we say the C word anymore?
I've had some complaints about the C word, being CHARCUTERIE.
What's wrong with saying that?
I don't know. Somebody was complaining about it. They said I should use smorgasbord.
I'm on board with
You're
the
on BORD, yeah. Nice.
So
I'm like Steve, 1989 MRE info. Nice. Let's get this smorgasbord out into a tray.
how about I'm gonna be cooking tomorrow. I'm gonna look like who's that blessed fellow? Not I want to say the guy from like Tool, Maynard Keenan or whatever, but like.
Oh no, you're thinking of Meryl. Cooking with O&A did it, Dan. The retarded guy.
Oh yes, yeah.
Cooking with Meryl Howard Kalin.
Yeah, Meryl Howard Kalin.
Bless.
You talking about the Down syndrome guy with the lesbian sister?
I don't know that he had Down syndrome, but he was definitely a special guy. And he was trying to cook, and I remember he's like cross-contaminating things a lot, and they didn't really acknowledge that he was doing that during the cooking.
And it's like, delicious. It's like, ooh, I don't know about that.
If I'm not mistaken, he did something like that.
He would just lick his
Meryl Howard Kalin, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah. He's like Chris Chan almost.
Chicken on it. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's a blessed young man, or he's probably 50
he's
now.
He's like that, that meme where it's like, which way, young man? And one way is Meryl Howard Kalin, and one way is Chris Chan.
Well, we should all strive to be more like Meryl Howard Kalin.
We should. But I'm gonna put on my favorite Christmas movie, Die Hard. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna put on my favorite Christmas movie, Goodfellas.
Oh, all right.
Nice.
That's not bad.
I think me and my wife discussed it earlier. We're debating putting it on, but we'll see. And it'll be good times.
Anybody else care to share some Christmas
Grant's
tradition?
meeting up with his handler. He's got a lot of shit to tell after tonight's live stream, I'm sure. You cut out again, buddy.
Sorry, my microphone sucks. No, I'm definitely not the one who meets up with the handler. I'm kind of like the guy who does the handler.
Oh, right. So you're meeting up with your informants.
I can't go undercover.
True. That's true. Yeah. That's true. Yep.
Yeah.
Dan, anything you want to share?
Just a lot of FaceTime with the niece and nephews over in Albany, and then lots of good Brazilian food. We got some linguiça, which is we got churrasco. Yeah. We've got picanha, all the good meats. So we'll be eating good tomorrow.
Amen.
All right, boys. Merry Christmas, and a couple more little catching up here. John French says, "Ho ho ho, Happy Hanukkah."
And to you.
Also, Clarf says, as a kid, I would hide the motion-activated babies around Toys R Us. Solid bit. I was watching that video, that Sam Hyde video, where he's just going, ting dong down, ting chong swing, ho ho. And I was just like laughing and going, like, what if that was my Santa impression? Like, ting ho, ting ching swing, how, ting ting ho. Have you seen that one before, Patrick?
I'm yes, it sounds familiar, but I haven't dove back. Oh, it sounds like Chinese Pee Wee Herman, in a sense.
Yeah. Okay, so Hey Say What Now says, good stream, y'all. Good night and have a great Christmas. Great Christmas to you too. Hey Say What Now. Jeff says, thanks, fellas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. I think we're going to take off now. I said before, if you like the show, you want to see more bonus content, please go to historyhomospod.substack.com. You can also follow us across social media at History Homos Pod. The regular episodes, find at www.historyhomospod. Is on the RSS feed, iTunes, Spotify, Rumble, Rockfin, Odyssey, BitChute, and again, I said the Substack thing. And any questions, comments, or concerns at History Homos Pod. You can even hit us there too. But email me at historyhomos@gmail.com. Patrick, anything you want to say before we hit the fucking road, buddy?
www.can'tgetfooledagain.com, and Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, homos.